request my team to bring Bhavish in on the screen so that we can start the conversation. Hi Bhavish, thank you so much. I understand you had a travel, last minute urgent travel, so you could not make it. But I'm sure the entire audience is looking forward to directly interacting with you. But I'll not take longer and I'll not come between you and the audience. But before that, I'll give you 2 minutes to give your perspective, because you are one of the CEOs who have kept all the journalists excited, the industry excited, and you don't mince your word, you speak your mind, you are known for that. So before we take it to the audience and you interact with them and I push questions for you, I just want to understand, how do you see future of mobility in India and globally? Why do you think, you always say one thing, end of ice age. Why don't you think that you can work together or you can progress together rather than ending one era and starting a new one? Let's hear from you.
Thank you. Nabil, I hope you all can hear me?
Yes, all can.
Okay. So Nabil, it's great to be with you here. Good to meet you, good to be in front of the audience. Again, apologies, I couldn't make it in person. I had to be here in the US at this time. But your question that you're asking, it's a good, nice way to start off. And I wish I was there in person. I would have loved to see the reactions from everybody after hearing my perspective. But see, my perspective is very simple. When you know what the future is, you shouldn't waste any time building the past. And the future is very clear. The future is electric, and the future is not only 20 years out, the future is here and now. And the way you see the electric revolution happening across the world. It started off in the West with companies like Tesla, etc., leading the way maybe about a decade ago. But to truly take the EV revolution to humanity scale, India has to be electrified. And India will not be electrified by a Western company. India will be electrified by an Indian company. And as we electrify in India, we will become global leaders in this electrification journey, because India is where the large volume of mobility or large volume of humanity. I think just today or yesterday, India became the world's largest population country. I was reading some report. So we have to electrify mobility in India, and in doing so, we will create a different paradigm for the world to build a journey towards electrification, one which is different from the West. Because in India, the kind of products we use are not the luxury cars or large pickup trucks, but two-wheelers, small cars, three-wheelers, mid-sized cars. And traditionally, this segment of automotive in the ICE era was dominated by the Japanese. If you look at the leading Japanese companies, Toyota, Suzuki, Honda, Kawasaki, Nissan, all of these, Yamaha, all of these were, they dominated this, let's call it the urban mobility automotive segment. But where the Japanese ecosystem is today and where the Indian opportunity is today is very different from what it was 50 years ago. So, and India is a great microcosm to the rest of the world versus the West. So this transformation is for an Indian company to lead globally, and lead from India first and then lead globally. And I believe, given this reality, there is no time to waste in building this future. And the technology is here. The customer, when we started off with Ola Electric in the beginning, people used to question us, is the market ready or not? Is the technology cost curve ready or not? I always say, ready to karna padega na, apne aap nahi hoga ready. So it's the entrepreneur's job and the company's job to make it ready. And that's what we have been hard at work at. We have from the day we conceptualized Ola Electric, we were clear that we have to build global scale in India and world-class technology in India. And that's what we have been doing in our short journey so far, which is about 1.5 to 2 years. And the EV industry in India is today so dynamic. Just 1.5 years ago, before we had launched, it was just very, very early. And today you see already so much dynamism, scale in the industry, dynamism in the number of companies participating in the industry, not just OEMs, but component makers across the value chain. So that is very exciting to see that the Indian ecosystem is coming together to really accelerate this transition.
I appreciate, Bhavesh, your enthusiasm and your zeal to just let's do the thing that is required. And you think electric vehicle is what we need. And there are 2, 3 reasons that you have always been pointing, because we need to move to clean mobility, safer mobility, and congestion-free mobility. That's what the world is moving around. And you feel electric vehicle is going to be the option. You broke many, cliched or the standard protocol for doing business. You removed a dealership from your business system in early stage. You were the first company to take one product, off the shelf, I think fastest within a year, if I'm not wrong. But let me talk about electric vehicle being clean. Look at the LCA, life cycle assessment of electric vehicle. Currently, we work on LFP or NMC. These both chemistries, if you talk about, the way it is processed, produced from mining, till it goes to the vehicle, it's only that tailpipe emission is, controlled. That means if you look at the
I will pause here, and the point you raised here is a very important point, and I really believe that this debate is very important in India, very healthy in India. And while the world has already gone through this debate and settled it, in India we are just going through this debate because the EV industry has just started growing. Now, you are right, there is emissions in producing the core components which go into an EV. But if you analyze it...
But at the same time, ICE is becoming more efficient.
So I'll answer your point.
Yeah.
So if you analyze the actual life cycle emissions of EV versus ICE, even today with the grid renewable mix that we have today in India, and I'm not talking about some future with much higher renewables, even with the current grid and with the current processing technologies on lithium or cathode materials, etc., even today EVs are significantly lower emissions than ICE. And while ICE is incrementally getting better, it's not getting materially better. But EV technologies, the processing technologies on lithium, the way the precursors to the cell components are made are getting significantly cleaner very fast. That and also the grid mix is significantly changing very fast in India. If you see the percentage of new energy, the percentage of incremental extra energy requirements in India that are met by renewables is much higher than the actual renewable mix in the grid. So when you look at this holistically, EV is absolutely the right answer and now. And there's a lot of sometimes uncertainty or lack of information or some industry participants might even force a certain narrative. But the fact is what I mentioned. And many independent studies have actually corroborated this fact in India and even country by country. Like I said in the beginning, the debate is just starting out in our country, and it's a very relevant debate. It should play out over the next few months. But all countries in the world have settled this debate within their own ecosystem.
But I fear a bit like, developing nation a developed nation will take the cake and all the dirty work might be left to be done in the developing nation. Like you talk about how Congo, the child labor and everything happening there. And there are a lot of activity in the previous industrial revolution also. How do you counter that? How do you think that will be settled?
Again, a part of this overall debate and familiarization that the Indian ecosystem is going through around EVs. You mentioned child labor in Congo. Child labor is by the way, what mineral is found in Congo? It is cobalt. And cobalt is increasingly becoming very less relevant in the battery value chain. In both the chemistries that you mentioned, NMC and LFP, LFP has no cobalt, NMC has only 10% cobalt.
Even lithium, Bhavesh, even lithium, if you talk about, is extracted from hard rock, and that, needs a lot of energy consumption. There is also a lot of CO2 emission.
Two different points. One is supply chain concentration and child labor, which you mentioned, that's Congo. Lithium is not necessarily extracted only from rock. The Australian lithium is rock, the South American lithium is brine. And lithium is energy intensive, but that I answered in the previous question, that accounting for that is still on a life cycle basis much more efficient than your ICE technology. And the lithium extraction technologies are seeing a lot of investment, a lot of innovation. I'm here in the US meeting so many interesting technology companies on extracting lithium through newer, much more efficient, orders of magnitude more efficient techniques. So the future is only much brighter when it comes to electric technology, significantly brighter. And let me also step back and talk about the bigger picture on supply chain, since the direction of our exploration with me is around the risks or the potential debates around EV technology in India. Another debate question we have sometimes is, in lithium technology already, quote unquote, China controls the supply chain, so we should just leapfrog lithium and go and do whatever the next era is, sodium or something else, aluminium or whatever. Now, one of the most important technologies of our generation is the lithium ion cell. And it is a fairly new technology. It was productionized, many of people in the audience would know this anecdote, but it was productionized for the Sony Walkman, the first ever lithium cell. And that's what made the consumer electronics revolution possible. And without lithium cells, there would have been no consumer electronics revolution that we all enjoy today. And there is still a lot of innovation going on in the lithium technology stack, be it high nickel electrodes or be it solid state, faster charging, higher energy dense, safer, lower cost. So a lot of innovation is happening, and it's in no way at its maturity. So we in India cannot say, oh, we have let another country take up the supply chain and we cannot participate. That's absolutely the wrong way to think about it. And secondly, it is not as if one country controls the supply chain. If you look at the mining of the core minerals required for EVs, they are all largely outside of China. China has a lot of midstream processing because that's where the cell and the EV industry was. But midstream processing, the government has taken a big initiative to realize scheme to bring onshore a lot of midstream processing, right from lithium refining to cathode material to even graphite for the anode. So it's very important for us in India to have a very strategic view of the technology, build our own engagements with core supply chain partners. For example, Australia will be a very important partner. The FTA framework with Australia will really help India and Australia partner more deeper in these critical battery minerals. South America, even North America, Canada, etc. can be large partners in many of these minerals.
Agree.
And we have to also create the core technology in-house and manufacture the cells in-house.
Agree. There will be a lot of change as the market matures. But before going that, let's discuss the actual business. Now, you talked about 1 million unit of two-wheeler you will produce by next year. What kind of market you see for India in terms of two-wheeler? We have reduced to about 17, 18 million now from 21 million. How do you see the market panning out?
One interesting dynamic that will play out is, all of us in the audience know that petrol ke daam se badhte hain, kam nahi hote. All of us have grown. And I was born 30-40 rupees ka petrol tha. I remember in my youth abhi 110 rupees ka ho gaya. And the price of gasoline vehicles also only go up because as incrementally the efficiencies are improving, it involves a lot of cost. Whereas EVs will have the opposite cost curve. Prices of cells and batteries will go down, and the prices of the electric vehicles will also go down as we localize more of the supply chain and as we become more efficient in engineering and manufacturing an electric vehicle. Now, my own belief is the two-wheeler market in India has not at all peaked. It will actually grow to a significantly larger volume over the course of this decade. My own estimates are not estimates, but targets are for the Indian market to be about 40 to 50 million two-wheelers a year. Not next year or the year after, but in about a decade from now. And that will be possible only through electrification, because electrification will make the product usage much cheaper. It will make the product also lower cost. We can miniaturize an electric motor, but we cannot miniaturize an ICE vehicle, ICE engine beyond a point. So the total two-wheeler opportunity in India will be much larger, and the peak ICE has already been achieved. I don't think ICE vehicles will increase from what they were last year or this year in two-wheelers. But EV will just eat up the entire ICE share because the product is fundamentally better. My belief on the size of the market is that the whole ICE market is the TAM for is the target market for an EV play, and that's why we are so bullish on what we are doing, and we have set up we have given a aggressive forecast that by the end of 2025, all of Indian two-wheelers will be electric.
Oh.
3 years from now, and that is aggressive. I'm not saying that that is easy, but that's the goal we are looking towards.
Good. Bhavish, one pertinent question. You came to the market very quickly, and we saw there was a lot of criticism and talk about issues in your scooter, from a fire to battery problem to front fork that broke down in a couple of units. If you were to go back and look at the strategy once again, do you think it was a bit hurried product, or what went wrong? Would you like to change if you have a time travel back?
There's a presumption in your question, Naveen, that something went wrong. If you look at the market, the consumer loves us. We are the most, by far, the top-selling product. We have only one model in the market, which is the S1. And yet we are the largest EV company in India, not just in two-wheelers, but including four-wheelers by revenue. Not just by numbers, but by revenue. We are the largest EV company in India. So, कुछ तो सही नहीं रहा होगा ना. The smartest person in the room is always the consumer. Everybody in the industry always tries to patronize the consumer, but in the end, the consumer is the smartest. He or she knows what is right for them. He or she knows what the truth of each product is, and that's what has been playing out for us. And I'm very thankful to our early customers and our supporters who have adopted our product the way they have. There have been challenges for the industry through this journey. We were actually very happy when the government announced new regulations on battery safety. We were the first ones to adopt it. In fact, a lot of the recommendations we had already adopted in our engineering and design even before our first sale was done. But whatever extra was required, we were the first ones to adopt it, first ones to get certified. The next phase is coming up. We'll again be the first ones to get certified. So we will always be at the vanguard of safety and a high quality well-engineered product. How different industry participants feel about our play in the market, and as a result, the noise they create, that's up to them.
I'll not counter question now, but I'll open the floor for the audience because we have a huge audience and I should give them enough time to ask the question. So I'll request my team to provide the mic. Kindly introduce yourself and you can ask your question directly to Bhavish.
Hi Bhavish, Charu this side from Lubrizol. So we are additive partners to engine oil lubricants. So my question to you, first of all, congratulations on this great achievement. But my question to you is, we can see EV two-wheelers in urban cities. What is your strategy to push it in rural markets where two-wheelers are now like used as a commercial vehicle with huge loads? So what is your strategy to play there? Thank you.
Good question. Many of you in the audience might recall that we have been actually selling our product pan-India from day one, which was in itself a massive risk we took and disruption we did in the way automotive is sold. It's not just the product that we built, but the way we went to market with our product. And a lot of our sales actually happen from tier 2, tier 3, and even rural areas. And the demand in those areas is only picking up. As we come out with a broader slate of products, including motorbikes and including more mass price scooters, we actually expect a lot of uptake from rural areas. Like you rightly said, a lot of the use cases there are commercial in nature, and EV makes even more sense in a commercial use case.
Over there. Yeah.
Hi, good morning everyone. Bhavish, this side Bhavish Aggarwal from Ready Assist. We are already roadside assistance partners for Ola Electric. But out of curiosity, I'm just trying to understand. You started with the strategy that there wouldn't be any showrooms. Somehow in last 4 or 5 or 6 months, we have seen few of the outlets in few of the particular cities, basically the A category cities. Now, would like to understand that though roadside assistance is a key issue or key partnership within the overall EV industry, how you see the service also going parallelly along with the overall Ola Electric thing, or maybe into the EV industry? Thank you.
We never, we were always focused on a direct to customer go-to-market strategy, not a digital only go-to-market strategy. So we were actually very clear from day one. We even released images before the product, all the architecture stores and target networks and all of that. Many of you, some of you might remember as the media. So we were very clear that we will open a experience center network. And that's exactly how we done. We started off with purely digital because we wanted to scale across the country from day one. And then we, alongside in parallel, started building out our experience centers. So it was a direct-to-customer strategy, which I believe strongly is the future of automotive retail. Consumers are very smart today. They engage with all other products in a direct with the brand relationship or a digital-first relationship. And that's exactly how they're going to engage with their automotive experience also. And I feel that over the next few quarters or years, you'll see many other Indian OEM brands follow the same elements of our retail strategy. Already we can see many people kind of engage with the dealerships on how to bring more digital interfaces and also sell more directly online. So you'll see almost everybody in some way or the other come coalesce around what we have done. So that's one. Then we've also now opened up service centers across the country. Like you said, the need for service is obviously there, but in an EV, the service requirement is a significantly lesser amount than an ICE vehicle. So it's not, we don't need a very large service network unlike an ICE vehicle. We don't need there are not so many parts that need to be changed. So in that sense, the consumers have much more convenient ownership experience.
Next question.
Yeah. Hello everybody. Yeah, I'm Udit Bagga from the Baggaling Group. We are dealers for Maruti, Hyundai, Bajaj, KTM, and now Ather. So a few questions. So we have a 10 million capacity, and we are at around say 5%. Don't you think we invested too quick and a lot of capital inefficiencies, and with only one model coming in? And what are the plans for exports? What's the focus? And why no dealers? 4 questions.
I have nothing against dealerships. In fact, I grew up in I'm not from business family. I grew up in a small, not small, but tier 2 town in Punjab called Haryana. My parents and doctors there, and a lot of our family friends are dealers. So I have a lot of respect for the entrepreneurship and hard work that a dealer brings to the table in an automotive situation. But I do feel the future is not purely OEM selling wholesale to a dealer, which is doing retail to a brand, to a consumer. The future is a direct-to-customer relationship, and I do think at some point dealers will also have a role in that, and which each OEM might have a different take on the exact role of the dealer in that future. But it is this is the way technology is going. This is the way the consumer expectation is going. So it will be important for the dealer ecosystem to actually reimagine themselves in this field. So that's my comment on the second point. We have the balance sheet to invest and stay invested for the long term because we have built this business to scale. By the way, we have not installed 10 million capacity. Factories planned for 10 million, and we are installing it in phases. We have some parts of our factory have been built for the 10 million scale, but the scale up is happening as our volumes ramp up. But we have the ability to invest and to build for the long term and bring costs down with scale in the beginning itself. And that's why we are today one of the most profitable EV companies in the market.
We'll take questions from that corner.
Hello. Any focus on exports? That part left.
Yes, absolutely. It was our plan last year, but then the Indian demand went higher than we thought it would be. So we decided to double down in India. This year you will see us export.
Hi Bhavish, this is Noel Peters, and I would like to ask you a question. So first, you were very candid about talking that or sharing your perspective on that EV is going to be the future, no doubt about it. Yes, But is that we are saying that ICE is bad and we want to come up with the EV technology, or we are going to say that we can improve ICE into EV technology? Because in the present scenario in India, we have different various technologies available. If you see the reports also, we are talking about IC coming with some hybrid, IC coming with some biofuels, with some FFVs, hydrogen, ethanol. So I would like to know your perspective that 100% EV in India, how far the story is true? Would like to share your perspective on that, please? Because if the manufacturers, those who are manufacturing the ICE vehicle, is that they are running behind time, that they will not be able to achieve their course of business or their models in India? So could you please? Thank you so much.
I wouldn't want to comment on the incumbents. Their strategy is up to them, and their either investment or influence is up to them. I wouldn't want to comment. Although I do feel they are smart companies, so they will do whatever is right for themselves and their shareholders and their customers. But on your first point, I actually have been very clear from day one that the future is EV. And once it is very clear what the future is, it is our responsibility, at least that's how I see Ola's role in this ecosystem, to really accelerate the transition into that future so that India becomes the world's leading ecosystem for electric vehicles. And that's what we are doing. All other technologies, you mentioned hybrid, you mentioned a few other variants of incremental technologies, all these are not the future. Hybrids, only one ecosystem, one country's ecosystem has been pushing it. Maybe there's a vested interest there. But when you can actually have fully electric vehicles, why do you need to have hybrid electric vehicles? And the technology is also costlier. It's not cheaper than EVs, because it has hybrid. It's no cost. So, and on a more philosophical level, once you're clear what the future is, you just want to go build it. You don't want to slow it down just for the sake of an easier transition. You should have a smooth transition, but it should be done as fast as possible.
Hi Bhavish, Vinkesh Gulati this side. Since the start, we have seen that there have been a lot of tall statements which didn't actually go down exactly how you have given. And today again you have given a statement by 25, 100% two-wheelers will become EV. And
I gave the statement 2 years ago, sir.
so my point is we are doing some 14 million vehicle two-wheelers every year, annual. And even today you said that we have a capacity of 1 million Ola coming in as future factory. So where will this 13 million two-wheelers come in 2 years? I don't see any other players even talking that kind of numbers. If by 25 all two-wheelers have to become EV, there has to be some production capacity, or why are you then giving a commitment or giving a statement which there is no base on it then?
So I will say, Vinkesh, there has been a lot of announcement about capacity, but I don't know how much actually is happening. Bhavesh will be in the right position to talk about.
Because मेरे कमिटमेंट से आपको या किसी और को टेंशन नहीं होनी चाहिए. मेरे कमिटमेंट से तो सिर्फ मेरे शेयरहोल्डर्स टेंशन होगी. My shareholders are very happy and supportive of my own business and Ola's business. So and we have been very, and I have not said this statement today. I have said this the day we launched. If you go back to my launch event on 15th August May 21, I ended with the Mission Electric statement by 2025. We should endeavor to make India fully EV in 2 years, and it is not an easy goal. It is not we might not achieve that goal, but we are working really hard to make sure we do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. We will invest in capacities. We will invest not just the assembly capacity, but the component manufacturing capacity. Ola is investing into cell manufacturing. We are the largest lithium-ion cell manufacturing.
I'm so sorry, we are running out of time. Bhavesh, please ask questions very brief. And now we'll take from this side. I have given the opportunity to that side already. From here.
So that is, the people whose call statement the question are the ones who are doubting this revolution, who are saying no, it can't happen or it will happen slow, or the newcomers are not fit for doing it. They actually should be questioned for their laziness in adapting to this revolution.
Yeah, hi Bhavish. Hello. Yeah, hi Bhavish. I have a question this side. I think I've been holding the mic for a while, so maybe I'll just go ahead and ask a question. So Bhavish, I'm Abhishek Kochar from Alvarez and Marcel. We are a leading global consulting firm. I mean, I head the electrical vehicle business, and we advise large conglomerates and private equity funds on investments in electric vehicles, companies like yours and many others. So I have many questions. I'll ask just two in interest of time. So I've been following you and the industry quite closely. So my first question is, like, from your growth perspective, I think the first product you got in was a scooter, and ultimately it's a product business. You got the product like by acquiring a company from Europe, and that's how you started on the journey, right? So what is your roadmap, given you have quite an interesting lineup of products which are going to come in? And I mean, I know where the first product came in with some in-house R&D, but what's the roadmap for what has to come in next? My second and last question is...
Yeah, please, one question.
See, we acquired a small European company, and then we re-engineered the whole product and made it indigenous. The filter is made around, battery pack is made around, electronics are made around, the software is made around, all the tooling, all the supply chain, everything was completely changed. That was our first product, which is the S1. And we have a very strong two-wheeler product roadmap. There's an event we've announced, I think 9th February, 2 days from now. So you will be seeing on that event a little bit more announcements of our product roadmap and some exciting tease about the future two-wheeler program that we have. And through the course of this year and next year, you'll see a lot of product rollouts in the two-wheeler space from us. And that's possible. We are able to move with this momentum because we have built our core technology as platforms instead of every product being distinct. So a lot of the manufacturing, supply chain, software, everything is platformized across maybe 10 products we will build into it.
Yeah, we'll ask the question from this side. We have not taken the question from this side. Please.
Right. The gentleman has been waiting since really long. Thank you so much, Nabil, for taking that one. Sir.
Yeah, my name is Shirish Kulkarni. I represent Strot Consulting. We are into business advisory. Two perspectives for the adoption that we are looking at. One about battery swapping and second about retrofitting.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I'll answer both. My view on battery swapping is it's a niche technology relevant for niche applications like commercial two-wheelers. As soon as you get into anything consumer grade, battery swapping doesn't work because one, actually cost goes up. If you have enough battery capacity, you have to have 2 or 3 battery packs. Each battery pack has a battery management system, each has a connector. You need as many connectors on the vehicle side. The packaging cost goes up. And also you have to increase cost of keeping so many battery packs in a network, which also Indian consumer pays for. And all of this would have been okay a few years ago when the battery technology or the cell technology was not advanced enough. Today, cell technologies are significantly advancing on the fast charging ability. Cost curves is coming down on the cost you have to pay for the battery of the cell. So keeping all this in mind, battery swapping out of the gate is not a great solution for any application, with the exception of some commercial applications where you actually need a 1-minute refill. Which is only when there's a logistics delivery person which needs to just in a 1-minute swap, which is not how majority customers actually need. They can easily charge at home. They can charge in our fast hyperchargers, which also gives you a 10-minute charge with a reasonable range. So that's my perspective on that. On retrofitting, I might sound contrarian here, but I don't feel retrofitting is an important part of the future journey of electrification. Now, to us, sometimes it might feel that we have a lot of vehicles and we need to reuse them and retrofit them with EV technology. But the reality is, doing that is not cheap. It will involve a vehicle by vehicle aftermarket service. And it might not be the safest solution either because the vehicle will not be integrated as well. And EV is not just about replacing the engine with a motor and a fuel tank with a battery pack. EV is a fundamentally clean sheet way of redesigning everything about a vehicle. I don't believe retrofitting will be of any relevant scale in the future of EV.
Thank you. One last question from here and then.
Hi, my name is Amit Grower. I'm from IRP Systems from Israel. One question is related to how do you going to handle the entire data that you have collecting from all your vehicles out there? And another question, short one, is what is your view about three-wheelers and ELCV coming? Thank you very much.
Good question. I'll actually paint a bigger picture first and then answer the specifics. This future transition to EVs it's not a linear change in the industry. And that's why incumbents will be OEMs or component makers will have a much tougher time unless they completely redesign themselves, because the future of EVs is built on two technology stacks, software and new energy systems. Traditional automotives were largely, over simplicity, I call it metal bending technology. That's still relevant today, but that's not where the value is. The value is in the software stack and the new energy systems technology stack. And any company, any OEM which has ambitions to be a leader in the electrification space will have to really master software and energy systems, not just fabricate stuff. Now, with that, what we are doing on software, we are a software DNA firm. Our group has been in software 10, 12 years ago. I started my journey as a software engineer. So we actually have one of the most advanced connected systems and operating systems in our vehicle anywhere in the world. Our operating system is built counted by us. We log almost thousands of parameters every 100 milliseconds, do a lot of AI and neural engine processing on the edge, which is the vehicle itself, ship off the results to the cloud, do a lot of predictive maintenance, do a lot of personalized, contextual. Every vehicle has a digital twin in the cloud for us. So, and you'll see a lot more announcements in this direction in our future product announcements. This last year, we've been able to do three major releases of our software operating system. So, I do believe there is, OEMs will increasingly do more and more software, and that's an opportunity for companies across the board to partner with those OEMs.
We'll add one last, question from the audience, and then we'll conclude.
Yeah, myself Vipin from Kosher Climate. So my question is that whether we are talking about the wide large number of 10 millions or something like that. So whether we are in position to charging the EV, because we have to charging station are not there in that surplus, and then if we are in position to charge demonstrate this charging station, whether we are in position to generate that surplus electrical power. That's the question.
Right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Good question. Two different questions I answer both. On the charging infrastructure requirement, the charging infrastructure requirement is a little overestimated, because we all have, for a century we have been used to taking our vehicle to a refueling station to fuel. That habit is, I think, so ingrained in us humans that we don't even imagine there is an alternate way. But there is an alternate way, that the EV gets charged every night in your home or in the day in your office or wherever you go for work. And you don't really need to take it to a refueling station equivalent in this new era. And that's what has been happening in the two-wheeler, in our own experience over the last 1.5 years. Consumers are charging in their homes, if they have their own bungalows today, if they live in housing societies. Increasingly so, initially there was resistance, but nobody can hold back the forces of technology and the market for too long. So housing societies are now opening up to consumers, putting in them. All you need is a wall socket wherever you park your vehicle. And everybody parks their vehicle somewhere, even if it's on the road or if it's in your basement or wherever. All you need is a normal wall socket for a two-wheeler, and also a four-wheeler for a vast majority of the cases. That said, there will still be a need for a skeletal network for some customers who have long riding distances every day, or for some use cases where you're traveling in the city or sometimes you're out of charge in the middle of the city. So we've also built out our scalable charging network, which we call the hypercharging network. But it will in nowhere be as much required as we today feel that it will be required. And that's, by the way, the experience globally. If you see how people charge their four-wheelers in China or the West, a lot of it is actually done at home. It's not like every day you go to a charging station and fuel. That's the old paradigm. On your next point about will the grid be able to generate that much extra energy, that actually, now the good thing is the grid has, through the last 2-3 decades, really scaled up in India. There was a period when we had the same question about air conditioning in India. If every house has air conditioning and refrigerators and everything, how will the grid support it? But the grid was scaled up, and today already the grid is scaling up every year incrementally, and the grid planners, whatever I have had access to, are planning a scale up to budget for the EV increases in that. That said, for some larger charging format stations, we will need to have localized storage, energy storage also, so that we can provide the extra power when required without tripping the grid. So when we are thinking of building larger format charging stations, we will put our own energy storage there so that the power need not be sucked from the grid all of it, but it will be provided from the localized energy storage.
Bhavish, one last question from my side. Then I know that you have to go somewhere and you have only limited times. One question, at a time when everybody is working on niche specialty product, you are doing so many things. So how are you going to acquire expertise? Number one. Number two, can you give us some update on your car plans? How is that progressing?
Okay, so on the first question, Nabil, there are two philosophies that I hold dear to myself, and I will build our businesses in light of those two philosophies. First of them is that the future is an era of acceleration of technology and convergence of technology. So what that means is, if you look at this 10 years ago, a lot of the technology aspects that we use really today, the iPhone, all these things, social media, these didn't exist just 10 years ago. Right? And 10 years from today, we will have even more new things that don't exist today. So technology is accelerating.
True.
And secondly, technology is converging. Software technologies, energy systems technologies, new materials, all of these and many more technologies are actually converging into creating disruptive product and experiences for consumers. So, and any business that wants to build for the future needs to keep this philosophy in mind. You cannot just build the past and aim to really achieve success in the future. The second philosophy that I live with is that this is India's moment in the sun. And my generation, I believe, is extremely lucky to be standing on the shoulders of previous generations who did so much hard work to enable our generation to really build what is India's destiny in the next 25 years. So, with these two in mind, I think it's actually a responsibility and an opportunity to really master the technologies of the future and create products which are world-class out of India. That's what we are doing. We have been doing that across all our businesses, be it the cell business or the software business or the automotive business. And the whole Ola team, we have a world-class team. The whole Ola team is really passionate about following this dream. Your second question was?
Car, how is that progressing, car plans?
Car is progressing well. We have been working behind the scenes on the core technology platforms, and you will hear a major announcement in that direction soon, maybe in a few months.
Thank you so much, Bhavish, for joining ET Auto EV Conclave. Thank you so much once again.